Welcome to the M.A.N podcast, where your mind truly matters. We're your hosts, Tatenda and Rudy. Here, we tackle life's challenges, foster resilience, and promote wellness. Each episode promises to make a difference, one viewer at a time. Buckle up for a journey of enlightenment, because in the world of M.A.N, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Stay tuned.
Back with another one. It's TGIF. So excited that you are here. So excited for the person that is here for the first time. I'm not alone.
What's up, fam? It's your boy Alake. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much.
You're not alone, and I'm not here for the first time. This is a long time. I'm here for quality time.
Oh, yeah.
Quality time with the boys.
Time. Yes. And I believe that the person that is here for the first time is here for a quality time. What are we on about, bro?
Well, today is an interesting topic. And obviously, before we get into that topic, the M.A.N podcast is something that it's not just for anyone.
Yeah.
And today we actually had quite a few conversations about. I was like, is this controversial? Is it right?
Yeah.
And you know, you were right in what you're saying. So today we're talking about the difference between a father, a biological father, and someone being a dad. So we're going to get a bit into that. But before we do, I think a quick mention of the sponsors.
Definitely. If you're looking to travel and move on to one spot to the other, Firefly Corporate is there for you. Head on down to www.fireflycorporate.co.za. Your next destination should be in their hands. And thank you to Firefly.
And then a huge thank you to Revolution Apparel. They kit us out for some good clothes. We got the red shirts on today. So that what they do any types of sporting clothing, custom clothing designs. They were at Comic-Con last year, so anything that you want with regards to clothing and sports clothing, hoodies, whatever you need, they're there to customize it for you. Cynthia and her team will make it absolutely amazing. So thank you to them, and long may the support to them as well continue.
Yeah, and thank you so much for everyone for believing in us, and for you for coming through tonight and testing out what we are on about. When I asked Rudy earlier, when I said, what are we on about? I wanted him to mention what the M.A.N podcast is about. And yes.
You didn't say that.
I thought you were going to pick it up, mate. Anyway, the M.A.N podcast is called Matured Available Nature. So it's not men because you are seeing the masculinity and the beard. None, I don't have beard. You're seeing the beard. It's not about the gender. It's about being matured, available in nature. And obviously, because we are living in a society where the male figure has to be dominant, because if the head is not strong, the neck and everything else is just going to fall apart. So we are there to support men's mental health and ensure that every gent stands up for what they believe in, stand up for who they believe in, and making sure that the whole society is balanced. I think that's it, right?
Yep, you got it. Hit the nail on the head. Yep.
Done. Anyway, another one before we start again, Rudy. For the person that is here for the first time, what would you tell them?
About the podcast or about the topic?
About the podcast. Oh, so now you want to make sure.
No, I just want to make sure. Well, I just want to, obviously, when you're speaking to anyone that wants to watch a video of whatever it is that you're going through, whether you're seeking advice, you're seeking pathways, you're seeking motivation, that's the type of people we're trying to empower. And I think the biggest word or bit of wisdom for someone that it's my first time here is if you're seeking empowerment or just general direction, that's what we want. We want to empower you to have direction, have understanding, hopefully give you some sort of advice or give you some guidance, some tips, just about the place that you might be in and what you're going through, and help you deal with that, and let you know the biggest thing is that you're not alone. And no matter what you're going through, and we said it in podcast before, proving that it's not my first podcast.
Did I say it was your first podcast, bro? Or maybe if I did, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not alone.
Let you know that you guys are not alone. No one is alone in the things that you're going through. And you said it before, you know, we might be going through someone next door might be going through something even worse. So we are here to hear you. So please comment. If you guys are going through something, you know, let us know what that is in the comments of this video, so that we can use that to create videos, to create content, to maybe assist you, find a guest that is a professional in that specific regard to help you go through what exactly you're going through.
Yeah. And the thing is, just because we're coming with such a podcast or such a topic, because mental health is big, and a lot of people are going through it. And especially as us gents, a lot of times we may be going through something, but because we feel like if I tell Rudy that I'm going through a crap time, Rudy's going to think that I'm weak. If I tell my mate that I'm going through this and this and that, my mate is going to feel like I'm weak. But you never know. Maybe the mate needed whatever that you're going to tell them that you're going through. Maybe they've been through it, and that's how you're going to learn. And I'm not saying that Rudy and I, we are experts at this and we've studied it and our mental health is like right at the top and we're good. We're just saying we are creating a platform where gents can speak, gents can fall apart, and gents can ask, I'm not doing okay. You don't have to tell us what you're going through, but just to raise that hand in that comment section and say, gents, think of me. I'm not okay.
I think, like Tats just explained, I think it's a platform and it's a safe space. We're trying to create a safe space for men and for anyone that is going through something, just to have a bit of platform to express themselves, explain themselves. Maybe if it's just getting something off your chest. A place to open up, and I think that's why we're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That, what, I realized that I lost my son a few years ago, and I appreciated the gent or the mate that would sit next to me and say, I'm not going to tell you how you to feel. I'm not going to say to you, I know how you're feeling or I know what you're going through, because I don't know. I appreciated the mate that just sat next to me and said, if you need a charger, I'm here. If you need to drink water, tell me. If you need to change the channel, here's the remote. But I'm going to be here. That's what we're doing. Maybe what we're going to speak about, or maybe what we've spoken about, is not relevant to you, but somewhere, somehow, there is a word or a statement that we may have said, and that statement you're going to be like, oh, yeah, Rudy and Tat spoke about this thing. Oh, this is how I'm going to go about it. Or in your comment section, we're going to go through a comment and they go, Rudy, did you check that comment? I think that's our next topic. Or I think that's how we're going to go about it.
100%.
And as we are in that, I just took this opportunity when we started the year, because I lost my sister. Rudy called me, and he called me to be a clown, literally. And, having a video call from your mate and just say, how are you doing, bro? Because at the same time, he also didn't know how to approach it. Does he say sorry? Does he give me space? What do you do? Because a lot of times when your mate is going through a rough patch, you don't know what to say or what to do. And they then just called me out of the blue and say, but I've got the best view here. And we started laughing. And I appreciated that. But all up to now, I still appreciate that. So that's the same way as gents. Let us not be in a position where we feel like, just because I've told these guys on YouTube, on a comment section, that I'm not doing well, then they're going to look at me or they're going to search my profile and say, who's this person? Who's this weak person that is saying? No, let's just be a generation of gents that are just going to be there for one another.
It takes bravery to open up. I mean, whether it is anything, just to be able, the courage and the bravery it takes to speak about something that you're going through is exactly that in itself. It takes a courageous man, a courageous person, and a brave person to be able to speak about anything that you're going through. Because I think for years, and I mean, even in the last 5-6 years, it's changed so much that so many people internalize and don't let their feelings out and don't speak about what they're going through. And it creates a huge amount. I mean, the stats are there. I mean, if you can go onto Google right now and start searching stats about depression and mental illness, and how I think probably even it's got worse over COVID and through COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
Is what the lacking of communication and things that people are going through and what it's led to. I mean, it creates people that don't want to socialize, that don't want to communicate, and it affects everything. It affects the household, it impacts the relationship, it impacts your future relationships, because it changes the person that you are.
Yeah. And the kids as well. Have you noticed that the kids that were born during the era of COVID, they are less social than all the other kids, because you grew up, mom and dad are all here. You born, mom and dad are there. The family is there, the immediate family is there. But there is no social aspects of school, teachers and whatnot. And those kids are struggling to sort of integrate into society now that the world is opened up. I think that's exactly where we were as men, where you grew up being told that you can't cry. You cannot be weak. The family needs you to be strong, so you don't have time to be weak. So come back. So it's still okay, and we always say it's okay to cry. It's okay to say, gents, I'm not feeling good. And that's why we're creating platforms where men, we don't have to talk about women that are naked. We don't have to talk about porn. We don't have to talk about cars. We don't have to talk about sport. let's talk about ourselves and our well-being. How are we doing? How are you doing? If you're going through a rough patch, it's okay to say, no, I don't feel like waking up. Because women do it. So why can't we do it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, jumping into tonight, I still remember when I sent you a message and I was like, dude, already, this is what we're going to speak about. You're like, I think that's a bit of controversial. And my wife always complains that I'm an oversharer because with me, there's no secret. I'll tell you as it is. Rudy comes to me and says, nah, bro, do you think they should go about it that way? And I'm like, yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I've got a weak spot for this man. Each time he says, I don't think so. I'm like, okay, now I'm stressed. What are we going to talk about now? But anyway, there is a huge trend that is going on, especially with gents. And the reason why we're speaking about it from a gent's point of view, it's not because women are not going through the same thing. Because when it comes to abuse, gender-based violence is not only on the man that is hitting the woman, and it's also not only on the woman that is hitting the man, because both sides of the coin, they are equally as guilty when it comes to abuse. So when we speak about men's mental health, we are not saying women are not going through it. We're also not saying that women are prone or are immune to the stuff that's going on. And we are speaking about absent fathers. At the same time, there is a trend, especially with I want to use it from a black's perspective, and you're going to take it from a white's perspective. And we're going to go through the stats of what Google is saying. And yes, may be wrong. We tend to be corrected. And if you've got any better stat, welcome to go about it in the comment section and let us know as well, because we are trying to learn. And I've seen a lot of times, especially in the modern day South Africa, 1 in every 5, it's not a real stat, but what I'm seeing is a lot of kids are growing up with fathers that are not present. A lot of girls are having, or even if the woman is married, she's got other kids outside of that relationship or outside of that marriage or outside of the father of the last born or whatever. So you find out, I think I'm talking crap here. One may have 3 children with 3 different fathers. And you can look at it as the woman is irresponsible, but also let's look at it from the man's perspective. What happened when you made that woman pregnant? Then what? And a lot of black guys, everyone has got a baby mama. Yes, I understand that you're saying that she was so bad, but if she was so bad, why are you living here with your child?
Yep.
If she's such a toxic person, why did you leave your child with that person? Why did you leave your DNA? Why did you leave your blood with that woman? And it's so alarming, really, where you find that every household, almost every household in South Africa, there is always going to be a child that is not from that father or from a previous relationship. It's sort of like every relationship that black people we go through, there has to be a child that is a trophy or an indication that, no, I once dated in Limpopo, I've got a child from Limpopo. I once dated in KZN, I've got a child in KZN. I once dated in Zimbabwe, I've got a child from Zimbabwe, and it's not a good state. It's not.
No, and like, I've been extremely blessed to be working in the school setup for, my adult life.
Yeah.
And I've been, like I said, extremely blessed to be surrounded by such a different, diverse set of people, where I'm allowed to, learn about different cultures and different races, and the child, you see exactly where they come from. And at the end of the day, I mean, I don't even think it's, you talk about the color of the skin. At the end of the day, it's that person's dad, it's that person's father. So to just highlight on what Tats was saying, so the stats that we pulled, and all the information we pulled, one was, a lot of the information was from the National Fatherhood Initiative. You can check out their website. It was really a good insight for me to see the different stats and the things going on in different countries, as well as the Human Sciences Research Council in South Africa. So basically the stats that were taken from the National Fatherhood Initiative says that according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 17.8 million children, which is nearly 1 in 4, live without their biological, step, or adoptive father in a home.
Cheers.
So whether or not you've got a child with this person, there is the fact is there's a child without a father or father
Not
figure.
even a stepdad or anything.
Within the picture.
Yeah.
And that number of people, 17.8 million, that is enough children to fill New York City twice
Jeez.
or Los Angeles 4 times over.
Jeez.
Research shows that the father's absence affects the child in numerous and very unfortunate ways. And research between 2022 and 2023 from the National Fatherhood Initiative shows that when a child is raised in a fatherless or father figure absent home, there's greater risk of poverty, lack of professional behavior, risk of infant mortality, more likely of prison, more likely to commit a crime, more likely to face abuse, more likely to accept abuse, more likely to be involved in drugs and alcohol, more likely to suffer from obesity, and more likely to drop out of school.
Jeez.
Now, those things scares me to death.
To death, yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm a father and you're a father.
Exactly. Yeah.
That scares me because we think, and I think this is a huge thing, as fathers that are in the picture, a lot of the time we feel that, yes, we might not necessarily... you never feel like you're doing enough. And I don't think you ever will.
I don't think you ever will, yeah.
But just by being there, those are statistics that you are, by doing what you're doing and being in your child's life and being a father figure,
Jeez, bro.
are killing those stats.
Jeez.
And that's huge.
That's
I mean,
massive.
like...
And none of this talks
I might
about
not-
having money or how much money you
I
spend.
might not be able to buy my daughter a brand new car the day she
But
turns
still,
18. But I can avoid her.
I stopped obesity there.
I stopped her accepting abuse in her life. Knowing that she's loved. Knowing that...
Or dropping out of school.
Nah, that's huge.
That
that's
is
a
insane.
Scary
I see
stat.
one stat here as well that says 970 million people around the world will at some point have mental illness or drug abuse. 1 in 4 people will be affected by a mental health illness at some point in their lives. 14.3% of deaths worldwide, or approximately 8 million deaths each year, are an attribute to mental disorders. So you can imagine that if you are there as a dad, you are stopping this stat from 14.3 to what? That's alarming.
Even if you can drop it by 0.1%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
If 14.3 is 8 million, just fathom 8 million when you're not there for your child, or as well as women, because women have got this thing of just because the relationships did not work with the partner or the boyfriend at the time, then they are starting to use the child to punish the guy.
Yeah.
And I know of gents that want to be in their children's lives, but because the ex is so bitter, so much so that they don't allow the father to be there. And a lot of times, an ex will end up saying, no, you need to pay me X amount for you to have access to your children. And the guy doesn't have money.
Yeah.
And all these stats, they're not talking anything about what school you're going to send the child to.
No.
And what food you're buying that child. Just being there, you're stopping. So to women as well, before you can deny access to that man, think of that.
I think there are certain circumstances, and that's something we, as men, you have to accept. I mean, if there is a man that is absent from the child's life, and it's, the mother, or even if it's 2 mothers raising a child, and, the father figure is there, is accepting that certain circumstances might change that idea. And we're not oblivious to that, because there might be a father that is abusive.
Yeah, definitely. In that case,
and in that case, they're 100%. You're adding to that statistic because it's making it a normal thing. So to those mothers that are fighting those cases, or those fathers that are fighting those cases to protect the child, you're doing the right thing. We're not saying that every single, because that's the difference. And when I was talking to you earlier, there's a huge difference from being a biological father to being a dad.
Yeah.
Because I know, for me, the most amazing thing in the morning is when my daughter walks in the room and says, "Hello, Daddy."
Good morning. Yeah.
Morning, Daddy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my heart's broke. It swells, and that
money cannot buy that.
You can't. It can't. And I absolutely, my wish for this video is that it gets to the right father that might be carrying on fighting to try and be part of that child's life. Carry on the fight. The father that might have made mistakes, and done wrong things, and you're fighting to be back in that child's life, continue fighting.
Yeah.
Continue to make yourself better, be a better father figure, and to become a dad. Do those things the right way.
Yeah.
And to those moms that are maybe scared, or like you said, might be bitter, depending on what your situation is. I'm not saying give the dad a chance. I'm saying give the child a chance.
Jeez, that you hit the head. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, give the child a chance because at the end of the day, and like I said, I mean, I see it on a daily basis. I can almost pinpoint a child that might not have a father figure in their life.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It hurts because
yeah.
I can pinpoint both boys and girls. I can tell exactly where there is a lack of a father figure in the household.
Yeah.
And like I said, it doesn't have to be a biological male being that father figure.
No.
It's the person that you are, and the role that you play in that child's life.
Them,
It's the role that you play in that child's life.
I've got a few scenarios and a bit of storytelling. A few years ago, I was coaching this boy. So he comes with a soccer shirt, and it's a nice shirt, bro. Like, you're looking at it, and I think it was World Cup, probably 2010 or something like that. And it was, I don't know which country was it, but it was a European country. I think it was England or something. But it was a beautiful shirt. Literally, kid walks in and you're like, geez, this is beautiful. So, hey, bud, geez, that's a nice shirt. Where'd you get that? He's like, no, I got it for Christmas. Oh, nice, man. Who bought it for you? My mom's boyfriend. So I'm thinking, oh, crap. What is he talking about now?
Yeah.
Because I know his dad, I know his mom. And whenever they're bringing him to cricket, it's one or the other. And obviously, mom is probably at work.
Yes. There's separation.
I didn't know, actually.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. So mom, maybe, you just assume that, okay, mom was...
Maybe they're taking turns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dad is at work today, that's why he didn't come, and and all that. So I'm like, okay, but what do you mean? Mom's boyfriend is mom cheating, and the boy knows, you understand? So every day, so much is going through my head at that point, and now the kid's eyes become teary. So I'm like, bro, what's wrong? He's like, no, my mom and dad are divorced.
Oh, okay.
And the tears in his eyes, you could see that the kid everything just shattered down. So I'm like, oh, crap. I didn't expect this conversation to go this way. So now I sit down with the kid and I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, yeah. So what I'm trying to get at is, here is a kid that the father is there, the mom is there, they are actively available, but you can see that there is some mental issues that are going to arise from that. And the reason why I mentioned that is, could it be that that's going to be part of a state again? And yes, we're not going to get into why people divorce or why people go separate ways, because some relationships just don't work.
No,
and no
100%.
matter how much you can try and work it out, and I don't think anyone walks into a marriage to get out.
No.
Definitely not. I don't think anyone says, today I'm getting married, I'm signing here, in 10 years' time I want to be divorced. If there is, maybe. But no one walks in to fail. No one starts a business to fail. No one starts a family to break it. No one goes into marriage to break it. But you could see that the kid has got so much issues because of that divorce. And it made me realize right now, as we're starting this podcast, that probably those are some of the stats with mental health and disorders. Because here it says, the top mental health statistics says depression, 21 million US adults are living with depression, while 3.7 million people ages between 12 and 17, and the kid was, I think, 10 or 11 at the time, experience major depression, and 2.5 million people ages 12 to 17 experience severe depression, PTSD. There are 12 million US adults living with post-traumatic stress disorder. So, again, when we are going through these things and we're breaking up, or we're going through heartbreak and failed relationships, marriages, and all that, also bear in mind that there is a child that may suffer from mental health disorders. And we're not supposed to ignore these things, because a lot of times as parents or as adults, we are so focused on our fight and our tension that we forget that little kid is looking up to one of us, or that little kid is looking up to us. And whatever that we are putting them through or subjecting them through, they're going to wake up to be part of those stats. So let's bear in mind that mental health is really, really, it's something that is major and we cannot shy away from.
And, like I said earlier, like, we are not experts in any
never.
in anything that we might talk about. We do research and we try and find the stats and whatever. But like I said earlier, I'm extremely blessed to be working in the industry that I am, to be exposed to such different people and families and lifestyles, and and again, the biggest thing is being around children.
Yes,
and
of all races.
I'm so blessed to rub shoulders and get to know these the little names and the personalities that develop. And I have seen firsthand that yes, there are some extremely broken households, but it doesn't have to be broken relationships with that child. I've seen where there are divorced families. Mom and dad are divorced, but it's a conducive, healthy household for that child. The child is just as happy as the child who lives with mom and dad. Because there is a consensus to say that they are there to make this child's life the best. I'm not saying force a marriage. Please, that is not what we're saying at all. Don't force a marriage. Don't force a relationship that might not be there. Relationships sometimes have an expiry date. We get that. We're not saying try the food that's gone off.
They get toxic sometimes.
And then it becomes unhealthy to have a child within that household. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, the final product is not the status of the relationship. The final product is the status of the child that you're bringing up. And to have a child to have the best possibility of success, not success in work, success as a person, success in their relationships,
as a citizen,
success to be a good parent one day for them, comes down to the way that we bring up our children and the surroundings and relationships that we show our children, and like you said, the role models we have within our children's lives. I mean, it happens. Parents pass away unexpectedly, where then another father figure has to step in. And that's what we're saying, is it doesn't have to be a dad and a mom. It can be a mom and a mom. It can be a dad and a dad. It can be a mom, a dad, and another mom and a dad in a separate household. But at the end of the day, there are certain requirements that a child needs from two parents, or a mother and a father, a mom and a dad, to become a successful person in society. And society is becoming so tough to live in. You can see it every day. The depression is real. I mean, that stat there talks about children as young as
12 to 17, bro.
I've seen children younger than that, much younger than that, going through senses of depression and sadness and coming to school upset because of things that they've seen at home. And I'm talking.
And we think these children are not seeing. These children are seeing.
Children are a lot smarter.
They are a lot smarter than we think. You think that, oh, well, fine, me and mom can just pinch each other and they won't see anything. These children, they pick up on these little things. And actually, they pick up on negative stuff.
Not only that, they pick up on everything. They pick up on the gestures. They pick up on the mannerisms.
These two are not in cahoots.
The manners in which they speak to each other. They think that's then appropriate to speak to someone else.
Exactly.
And I see it on a daily basis. You can see it especially in confrontation. The way that a child deals with confrontation is one of the clearest measures of seeing what they do at home. What is accepted, what is being shown. And it is scary. It is scary. Some run away from it. What does that show me that at home? They shy away, they run away.
They run away from problems.
Is it run away of fear? Is it run away because they don't know how to deal with it? It's full-blown confrontation. It's fist swinging or swearing at each other, and you're going, where do you see this?
Or is it worth it? Like we spoke about in the last video, is yes, it's okay to be confrontational, but sometimes is it worth it? But because at home, dad just bests or mom just bests, it doesn't matter. So they think that that's the best way because they are learning from seeing what we're doing. And as gents, coming back to us as gents, especially when it comes to being a present father, dad, you have to be a dad. And a lot of times, especially in the black community, people will say, no, I made her pregnant, but I don't have money to get married to her. You understand? And you ask yourself, when you're doing the deed, when you're having sex with her, what were you hoping was going to be the result of the act? You understand? So, and a lot of times, yes, we understand that kids are expensive and all that, but your efforts of being there, that little, kids see that as they're appreciative. You know, when you say, I've got half a biscuit, a kid does not see half a biscuit as it's too little, as the partner or the ex will say, no, you're not giving them enough. The kid will understand the fact that dad was sitting down with me on the couch and he gave me a biscuit. To them, it's about quality time. It's not about the tons and tons of money and rands and dollars that we need to raise them. Yes, we are doing that because we love our kids. Yes, we're doing that because it's a lot about sacrifice. Like I'm not going to let my child go through lack. I'm not going to let my child, yes, he wants to play cricket. I have to make sure that I give them best kit because it helps with their confidence and. But it's not about the tons of money. It's just about being present and being a dad.
Yep. The biggest present is being present.
You see.
Yeah.
You
no,
see.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing because at the end of the day, you know, when you're old, and I think that's something that you'll remember, is you won't remember what you got for your 3rd birthday. You won't remember what you got for your 10th birthday. You're not going to remember what you got for your 16th birthday. What you will remember is the memories that you shared with your mom and your dad and your family and the father figures in your life and that one holiday. Or that time
we went to this,
or that one time where you did something with mom, or you did something with dad.
Yeah.
Those are the things, the memories that are created are the things that last forever.
Yeah.
And to create those memories takes creating relationships. And maybe it takes rebuilding some relationships. You know, trying to, and we've spoken about it, dealing with conflicts and moving on, and you know, having a fresh page. And funny enough, it's just dawned on me. I remember when I started with we got a new boss that came in, and one of the lessons that he taught us, he goes, everyone has got a clean slate now. He goes, let's look at it like a page. If you've made a mistake, everything that you do, everything we do as people is written in pencil. Okay. Every mistake you make can be erased.
Okay.
And that we can move on. What you can't move on from is you crinkle the paper, because you're never going to get rid of those crinkles.
Wow.
So that's something that stays with me, is that you've got you are the only person that give another person a clean piece of paper to rewrite it. There are certain mistakes, there are certain things that crinkle the paper, but some mistakes can be erased. And it's whether the way that you see that problem, is it something that you are able to erase? Is it something that we can be moved on from? Is it something that we can just write a nicer sentence over that bad sentence that we might have written?
Jeez. And you can see that maybe it's not all doom and gloom.
It's not.
You can always start again and say, you know what, yes, maybe I did not treat you right, but for the sake of making sure that we don't want a generation that's going to wake up from 12 to 17 and they're depressed. And I saw that especially with grade 7s and matrics for 2020 during Corona. Those kids were depressed. But we grew up with this sense of, you're not paying bills. You've got no right to be depressed. You're having money that is short. You don't have a salary that is cut. You don't have a right to say you're depressed because you've got a roof over your head because I'm paying for it. And a lot of parents were saying that. Yeah. But these kids did not know.
No.
One moment you're supposed to be in school, the next thing you're not in school. The next moment, no, you're going back to school. Next thing, there's a lockdown. Next thing, these kids, in as much as it was depressive for us, it was even more depressing for them, because you're thinking, what's going to happen? So-and-so's dad died, is my dad going to die? So-and-so mom died, so is my mom going to die?
Yeah.
Or am my aunt, is my grandmother, is my whoever, are they going to die? Because everyone is dying. So everyone was going through depression, and we have to do everything in our power to make sure that the next generation is as strong as we tend to say we are strong.
Yeah, and another quite big thing to think about is that when you've got a child and you know, you raise a child, I'm not saying you're not perfect, I'm not perfect.
No, definitely.
And my wife's not perfect.
Yeah.
Your wife's not perfect.
Yeah.
But we are able to make mistakes, and children understand that if you can teach your child that making a mistake is okay, and you tell them, yes, you failed, you weren't able to ride that bike. Okay? You failed.
It's okay.
You didn't ride your bike perfectly, you failed. And understanding, okay, that you might not have done it right, but you can do it better next time.
Yeah.
The same principle has to be with you. The same principle for dealing with that understanding of, I might have made a mistake, I might have failed.
And
Something
it's okay.
in the relationship. It's okay.
And it's okay.
We've got to practice what we preach.
Yeah.
You know, practice what you preach as a parent, to say, you've taught your child it's okay,
okay to make a
mistake.
mistake.
It's okay to fail.
Yeah.
And they will then accept it as well. At the same time, some mistakes can be can't have the happy ending.
Yeah, not every story has to have a happy ending, I think.
But I think a lot of the problems in households and relationships and marriages, going back to our last podcast with conflict, a lot of the problems and the reasons for the divorce or the reasons for the separation or the reasons for the fighting in a relationship, you might be thinking separation might be a thing, is something that can be fixed.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying fix it for the child and force a relationship. I'm saying if you feel you need to separate, then do that.
Yeah.
But do it in a way that you can try and make it as good as best you can.
Yeah. I don't know what my cat is doing here. Sorry for that. Yeah. You're right, man. You're right. It's really sad that sometimes we put our egos in front of what's right.
Yep.
Yes, they may have hurt you, but the bigger picture is, like you said, you mentioned a statement where you want a result for the child, not a result for the two of you.
Yep.
And there's so much power in that, because before you then sign that divorce paper, before you then say you're going your separate ways, before you say you're not going to be there for that child, remember the result is in the child and not in what you're trying to prove a point to, that I was right, you were wrong. Yes, you may be right, but then is that good enough for the child that is growing up? Because again, we come back to this stats. 12 to 17, that's the prime of everyone's child. That's the prime of everyone's childhood's life as they are moving on to being an adult. So if that is screwed up, we're still raising a generation that is screwed up, basically.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
You know, you spoke about a story that you had with that child, and I talk about stories that I have, and another time where, you know, it's all good to count your blessings and see where you've been blessed in your life. I was extremely blessed to have, and I still have parents that are together to this day.
Yeah.
Where I see on a daily basis the love and affection that my mom and my dad have for each other. And it's amazing. I'm really blessed to have that.
Yeah.
My wife, on the other hand, has a mother and a father that separated when she was extremely young. I think she said she was about 3 or 4, somewhere around there. Yeah. And dad is now in a relationship where they got married and he's extremely happy. Mom moved on into another relationship. That relationship didn't work and now she's by herself. But in the same breath that happened, Kaylee still had a mom and a dad that loved her. She was still blessed and was the lessons and the mistakes that were made because of mom and dad separated, whatever. Because it was mistakes that weren't massive. That even coming from a broken home where mom and dad weren't not together, she still had mom and dad figures that had a huge impact in her life.
And they were available.
And she now knows, yes, the small thing that she saw about getting separated scares the heck out of my wife. And I've got the same fear, whereas I want to look up to my parents and have that relationship. Kaylee wants to show that it is possible,
to come from a broken
to have that relationship, and that's two different people.
Deep, bro.
So you've got to you know it doesn't mean that only certain people or you know can create a household like it.
Even from broken, you can still.
I look at the home that we live in. We are so blessed to have my parents staying with us.
With you guys,
we are so blessed to have myself and Katie extremely in love, raising a beautiful daughter in a household where you know that it's bad things fester and good things grow.
Wow.
You know, so if you can create a household with good things, that will grow as well. Just as bad as bad things fester and grow and become gross, good things also grow. They bloom, they blossom, they become something special.
There's a story of 2 boys that were raised by the same dad and mom, and the dad was abusive. Okay. So as they grew up, they also got married, and one was beating his wife because he saw dad beat mom. The other one said, I will never lay my hand on my wife because I saw dad beat mom. So you see that, yes, you may come from a broken family, but you can still change that narrative. 100%. You can come from a good family and still change the stats.
You can change the stats. I think
the onus is on you.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's the essence of this podcast is let's fight these stats.
Yes.
You know, we read out stats that we found, and it's so accessible to anyone. I mean, you can literally go type
go
in
to
stats,
Google.
You know, go there and search stats, and you know, even if the stats aren't 100% clear, which
But there's no fire without smoke. There's no smoke without fire.
Correct. So it's still bad. Even if it was half of those
It's
stats,
still bad.
It's still terrible.
Still, yes.
We as people can change that stat.
Yeah.
So we want you, the viewers, to spread the word, change the stats. Let's give children the best opportunity to have a success in life, and not success, like I said, in finance. The success being in a society that is so broken, that is so tough, that is so scary. Give them the best opportunity to thrive in those environments, not just survive in those environments.
Yeah,
Thrive in the environments, thrive in their relationships, thrive in the work relationship that they create, thrive in the relationship they have with their person.
Other people, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a chain reaction. Because I said when I got my son, when our son was born, I said, I will never have visitational rights to go see my child. I will never have to call the mother and say, can I be with him for 2 more days? Can I be with him for this weekend? Or can we go this? I said never. And up to now, yes, I may have gone through stuff that we went through in our marriage, but at the back of my mind, that promise was there.
Yeah.
That promise of, yes, I may want to get out of this marriage, but I was holding on to my vow. And I made that vow when he was born on the 29th of January 2014. And I said, you know what, but I'm never going to leave your side. And I'm never going to ask your mom to come and see you. I'm never going to have to check out with your mom's man or boyfriend or husband, whatever the case might be, to make sure that I'm there to see you. And that's a vow that I'll still stand by. And maybe, just maybe, do the same thing for yourself. If you vow that, even if you're going to have 10 children, say, you know what, I'm going to have it with the same woman, and we're going to die together, we're going to struggle together, and we're going to be under the same roof, because that's what brings better societies. And have you noticed that a child that is raised by mom and dad with both figures, they've got a different kind of confidence. Look at them walk.
They will have a different thing of confidence, but they will have a more open outlook and a more positive outlook on life.
On life, yes.
And like we said, society and life today is so sad. It's so morbid. There's so many bad things going around, and people talk about the bad things, and people talk about the scary things that are happening in the neighborhood or in the politics or whatever it is. For a child to be a child, we've got to let them be children.
Yeah.
We've got to let them do the things that we did when we were younger in being children.
Yeah.
Let the children play and be the mom and the dad to show them that the mistakes that they see, the mistakes that they're involved in, is not the fights and seeing mom and dad fight or seeing it. The mistakes that they're seeing is dad showing he also falls off his bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mistake.
That's the mistakes that they need to see.
Yeah.
And that is just by being present.
Yeah. Have you also noticed that when we grew up, every adult was a parent. Every old man was a dad. Every old woman older than you was a mom. And right now we're getting into a spot where you find that a 50-year-old raped a 5-year-old. That's where it's coming back again. We are a broken society as gents. You don't have to be a father
Society's
to the one.
become sick.
Exactly. You don't have to be a father to the one that chooses your DNA. Every child is your child. When I see a coach, I see my daughter.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at her, when she is sick, when she's been sick, I was equally as worried because I'm a dad.
You asked me literally every single day.
How's Kota?
Yeah.
How's Kota?
Before you even asked how
exactly.
how is Kota? Yeah.
Because she's my daughter.
Yeah.
And that's, as gents, that's the kind of life that we need to live in. Where when I see a child walking the street and something in danger is supposed to happen, I need to be there and say, I'm a father.
Yeah.
That cannot happen. So imagine if the whole society works together to say every child is my child.
Yeah.
These stats will be cut by cheese.
No, exactly. And like we said, I mean, father figures doesn't mean that you have to be the biological parent to your child.
No.
Everyone can be a father figure or a mother figure for a child.
Yeah.
It's not the blood that makes you a father figure or a mother figure. It's the mentality, it's the values, it's the care factor that you have for a child.
Exactly.
It's doing things that allow you to become a role model for that child, that make you have the qualities of being a dad and being a mom.
Yeah.
Anyone can. Most people. If you are biologically completely normal, anyone can be a parent.
Yeah.
Yes,
Anyone.
Yes, there are ladies that can't have children. There are men that can't.
You can
that can't become a father.
The fact that you adopt.
The difference is they can be a dad.
Yes.
They can be a mom.
Yeah.
Anyone can be a mother and a father, but it takes a special person to be a mom and a dad.
And a dad.
Yeah.
And be a mom and be a dad. I think wrapping up this whole episode, let's just be a generation of people that are going to say, not on my watch is the next child going to be raped. Not on my watch is there going to be child trafficking. Not on my watch is there going to be something that is happening that is bad to the child. Because if it contributes to 1% of this 8 million, this 14.3, then it's not worth it.
Yep.
But if it contributes to decreasing it, it is worth it.
Yep.
So let's do that, gents. This has been a touching topic, Ruth.
It has, yeah.
Really touching, alarming, and it just shows that we are not doing enough. We haven't started. So if you are there in the comment section sharing this, just means that you are saying also not on my watch. I need to make sure that there is enough awareness of making sure that the next person knows about this. The next person knows that there are certain gents somewhere in South Africa that are saying not on our watch are we going to see alarming stats. If you are saying half the people can fill up New York is a very big city.
Yeah.
That is alarming. So if you're still here, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. We didn't mean to be harsh or to be nasty. It's just that we are so passionate fathers that want the best for our children, that wants the best for society. And as we build a strong enough society, we are building gents for the next generation, fathers and mothers that are going to be strong individuals and strong societies. And I think that's it for me.
Yeah, we want to build a society. Not building a society of fathers and mothers. We want to build a society of moms
and dads. Yeah.
We want them to become loving and caring parents, and showing that even with society the way that it's changing, that child still has the best opportunity to become a mom and dad to their own child. And be that loving parent for that child, and give them another opportunity and extend that family line.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
Chain reaction. It keeps on going and going.
And that's what we want to do.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Ruth, it's been amazing. And